All right then, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this meeting. President's remarks, it's cold outside, we don't have a lot to talk about, let's make it quick. There's no public for public comments. Approval of the November minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye, done, okay, approved. Office update.
Yes, here I am. We have our insurance, new premiums for the year, and 2018 for directors and officers, we paid $3,582. That's going up to $4,056 for the upcoming year. We just budgeted $3,600. That's all we budgeted for that. But I will say, a number of years ago, before we went with Nationwide, and before that, we were with Cincinnati Insurance. When we went with Nationwide, our premium dropped significantly, and I didn't look to see how much, but it had dropped significantly by going to Nationwide. So it's more than we expected, but it still is as much as it had been. So we'll go from there. Liability, we spent $546 in 2018. It's going up to $600 for 2019, and that is the amount we budgeted for liability insurance.
$600?
$600. And that might be where the premium really was reduced by going with Nationwide, now that I think about it. The liability insurance was very high.
That seems
Cincinnati.
incredibly low.
That's really low.
That's
And
what
the
we
D&O is really high.
It is.
We pay $1,800 at the club for D&O.
I
I don't know what they base the, their actuary
How many board
standards
members
on.
are at the club?
Oh, we've got 15 board members.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Wow.
5 officers.
Goodness. I don't know.
Do you know which company it's with?
Yeah.
State Farm.
State Farm? I can call and get a quote. State Farm.
Yeah, I mean, you could try. They're not a major player in business insurance, but they do have it.
Okay.
So it'd be worth checking.
Okay.
You could check Wayne Shoemaker up in Prince Frederick, or I'm trying to think of who's local, who else is over here, St. Mary's. So I know there's a couple other. It wouldn't hurt to check. I mean, I don't know what they base.
But I guess it also depends on the amount of coverage.
Perhaps, well, yeah, it
Yeah.
would. It would.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't tell you, I don't know.
Yeah, we have to compare that.
Right.
That just does seem awful high with the liability being that low.
Right,
Yeah, that's,
yes.
Which, there ought to be some, you think there'd be some balance there.
You would, yes.
We've never ever had a claim, have we, in years
Not,
past?
well, we have, but not in some years, and not with Nationwide, I don't believe. I believe with Cincinnati was when we had a claim for that kid that hurt himself at the beach. The gate was closed and.
But this is for
his bicycle-
directors
But that was for
Oh, for
liability.
directors, oh gosh, no, you're right,
You know.
you're right. No, we've never had a claim for that.
so why should it be that high? Oh,
I don't know, I will
I don't know.
call it. This is, I don't know, this really maybe should go under roads. Gary, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Asha sent me an email the other day saying that the manhole cover was missing on, she said Lake Drive, she was confused. It's actually on Laurel Way. I went to look at it, and the cover is off of the standpipe. So I called Jeff to see I went to look at it, I didn't see a manhole cover laying anywhere. So Jeff said maybe he would have one that he could secure for us. So I measured it. Then when I came to work this morning, he happened to be there looking at it, and sure enough, the cover is down the hill from the standpipe. So in other words, kids, well, I'm sure, lifted it
Yeah.
and rolled it down the hill. So I need to find somebody, I'll call Rodney, the guy that does our day labor and trimming and so on, to see if that's something he can do. I don't know if it's something one person can do, if we need 2 people to do something like that. Jeff said they're pretty heavy.
Is it right?
It's 26 inches in
Full-size
diameter,
manhole?
it's 2.5 inches deep.
Yeah, it's
The-
full-size
Because I, you know,
cover.
open. I put cones, but I meant to actually pick them up today because I'm pretty sure a kid is probably just gonna toss the cones into the standpipe. And Jeff didn't feel like we needed a cone anyway. So there's that. Newsletter went out last Friday, 421 by the post office, mail, and 869 by email. That's it.
Good. All right, well, as there are so few of us here, why don't we just skip the agenda and just go around the table? Mike, you have anything?
I just would mention that the house over there on Mill Creek, continued to let the county know that nothing has been going on. And I continue to get responses saying we're investigating and, you know, gee, it's gonna take a long time and all that, but, you know, so that's, they're at least aware of it.
Yeah.
So,
Jenna?
I just mentioned to Rhea about, you know, the trimming of the trees, and then especially on Bay Drive, as you come down the hill and around, there's a huge evergreen.
Oh, yeah, it's
and
out
then-
on the street.
And then also where the abandoned house is, that, it would really help if that is all cut back, because you can't, as you come around, you really can't see someone coming in the other way. And the roads are not that wide, and
Yeah, that should be cut back for, all the way to our right of way, you know.
I'll bring it up to Carl. That is what he's supposed to be doing when he does this 3-year cutback.
Well, that hasn't,
It's
I don't think
just-
that hasn't been cut. Don't worry about 3 years. I don't think it's been cut in 10.
Well, maybe
Mhm.
not.
Well, that's not true, it was cut
Oh,
a couple of years ago.
there we go. Stand correct, sit correct.
Yeah, but I'm sure it needs more.
So I'll put it on Carl's list.
Jack?
Speaking of trimming, do we do anything on Beretta, or is that just the county? It's only
County,
the county.
that's county maintained.
Because when you come off Chestnut, you know, and I come from the boat slip,
Mhm.
you can't really see the cars coming on Beretta, and often they're
I can call,
going faster than the speed limit.
I can call the county. Chestnut, that portion of Chestnut is also county maintained.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
I'll call the
Is
county.
it going faster than 25? I'm shocked.
Yeah, so he kind of knows out there, and, you know, sometimes they're on top of you. Anyway, this is just general comments.
Or, and finance, the whole
Okay.
shebang.
All right. Nothing really to report, everything is going as expected with expenses and income. And just nothing new.
Peter?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Tony, let me go next.
Yes, I was just gonna say, Gary, why don't you take it?
Yeah, I've got nothing.
Okay. Good, no, that's good, it's very important.
Oh.
Bonnie's not here for environment, Peter just showed up for safety. Nothing, very good, we'll accept that as an answer. Welcoming committee,
I got nothing.
all right, we'll accept that as an answer.
well, I mean, the welcoming committee, I mean, Asha and myself came over and did a couple
You're right,
of
you're
buckets.
right, right.
And then Cindy delivered a welcome bucket to a person who just moved in on, you know, on Bay Drive.
Oh, good.
And my impression from Cindy is that they were very excited about it, because they just didn't know anything about, you know, like the area. And so they were really pleased to at least get some information of, you know, where to go or what to do, so.
Okay, good. And, all right, Peter, okay, so I don't have anything to add. All right, let's briefly talk about not the playground, let's start calling it the top lot. Yeah, we'll start calling it the top lot in the future.
Is that some marketing thing? or
Yeah,
something?
well, the lawyer said top lot, comes playground, top lot.
I think playground invokes,
Yeah,
in the image of basketball courts and,
yeah, tennis courts and
Okay.
softball
Yeah.
fields and, no, top lot.
All right.
You got something from the insurance
I
company?
did. Actually, Tom Shield, the attorney, had suggested we get some information from some of the sites about standards, international standards or whatever, so I did that. And it talks about, it has a maintenance list, that's from that. How to do a maintenance list and so on, that's on the back page.
You know what, why don't you give one to Peter,
Oh, yeah.
safety will become
Oh,
involved.
there you go, that's right. So there's that, and the other thing, yesterday I sent an email to our insurance agent, and actually I'd forgotten, I had done that back in March, and you can pass these out too. And he had contacted the underwriter to get information about playgrounds and what needs to be done. And they think it is doable with regard to liability, but they have certain things they're gonna need to know, the cost of the equipment, what kind of base we'll have it on, and so on. So it sounds like it can be done,
Okay.
but, so we're making a little bit of progress on it. He needs the cost of the equipment too, I don't really know why,
Yeah, well, I don't know.
you know, so,
But
of course,
I-
they recommend maintenance be done and so on.
I guess that's the next step. The next step is to identify the equipment that we think we wanna have. We sort of, I guess, come to the conclusion by default that it would be at the beach. And then see where we go from there, because then it's gonna be a question of also getting county approval to do it.
I can send an email to, I'm not sure who it would be, Robin Monikeisen, I guess, for the critical area, to see, is this something that could be approved, and if so, what do we need to do?
Yeah, let's stress, children, tot lot children.
Right,
Children need a place to play. We don't want them going on the highway.
right.
And again, let's start taking the next steps. Any questions, comments, observations on the tot lot? Okay, good. Peter, you came in carrying something. That makes me think you want to say something.
Oh, yeah.
How did I know?
No, somebody just gave me the Calvert County topographic map from 1980. And on it, they designate the various districts according to taxes. And we're, of course, in district whatever it is. But the dots indicate all the houses on it. And, it's archival material. But I didn't know if it would be of any interest to the association, because it does go back to some period when we were still designated it's kind of interesting, from 1980, it was revised in 1980, so I don't know, I mean, if somebody ever had a question about something of historic interest that might have a legal implication to how we're constituted, I don't know, maybe we have one, Rita, I don't know.
We might somewhere, we have a lot of
But,
files,
yeah.
archival
But this
files.
definitely, is this somehow when we were part of the ranch club?
Looks like it.
It looks that way.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because the two homeowners associations that are south of us are included in that shaded area,
Yeah.
which I don't know what that shaded is area, maybe those are private ownerships. I don't know, but that's why it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's no explanation for the colors. No, that's areas with dense road.
But there's North Beach, and White Sands is not included as a private area, and I would imagine that
It's interesting.
I don't know if we have any issues that go back that far. When were we incorporated? In the 70s,
Oh, was it
weren't we?
that long ago? I thought it was the 80s.
But, sometimes we have to argue something or say it's always been that way.
Probably not a bad idea to hang on to it.
Absolutely,
File.
yeah.
And say, look, your house was already designated back in 1980 as a spot. And rather than check it, I thought it would be more interesting to at least run it by the board and see if it doesn't take up a lot of room.
Oh, yeah, no, it folds up, goes right into a file. So are you're donating this to us for file
Yeah,
material?
I get a tax deduction every
Certainly,
You want me to write a letter for you?
yeah,
month. 2 cent tax
certainly.
deduction.
Whatever it'll get you.
No, I don't care. I just, somebody may want to come and see it and say, when was my house built? Well, my house was built this and that. they can come in and use it as a resource. I don't even know if the county keeps them anymore.
Maybe on digital format or something. I mean,
Well,
land
it's weird
records.
because it
not
doesn't,
land.
there are no dots in this ranch estates area, and there were obviously houses
Yeah,
there then. So it's.
it
I'm
was
not sure.
treated as a non-existent area.
Well. it-
Kind of interesting the way it's set up.
Yeah, I mean, topo maps traditionally don't necessarily have all buildings and everything on them. And yet they may have some that are,
It's funny that they would bother to put the dots on everywhere else.
but they're not everywhere else. It's hit and miss.
Huh.
Well, what year was the map produced?
Well, it started in 1949, and then field checked in 1979, then revised
Culture.
in 1980. This may go back a lot further.
Well, the topo base is 49, but then they added cultural features in 80, updated cultural features.
What are the cultural, and presumably these shaded areas, I guess?
Could be, here's the culture.
Uh-huh.
Roads, buildings, towns, road networks. So these pink areas are just dense road networks,
Oh,
as compared to everything else which wasn't dense.
huh.
Huh. All right, well,
Well, anyway, well, I'll give it to the association, and the important thing is, if we need it, we know it's
in
here.
a time of future research with them.
You're most welcome. All right, that's,
And that's it?
yeah, I have nothing new.
Old business, we talked about the tot lot. Does anybody have any new business they would like to bring up? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is cold, it is dark,
Next
there aren't too
meeting.
many of us. Oh, yeah, we have to do the next meeting.
Do we have to talk about anything in the nominating
Oh,
committee?
yeah, do we have to talk about anything that's gonna come up at the general membership meeting?
I can't think of
We have a
anything. We have a nominating committee. We have 3 seats out.
The nominating committee does not have to meet until after the general meeting, because we aren't officially, no, we've been voted on.
You're already officially established, but let's see, if we only end up with the 3 candidates for the 3 positions, the work of the nominating committee may just be already finished.
If in fact John Minka is resigning,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have to take care of that.
You know, that should be, yeah, that would be a good idea.
I sent him an email to clarify what he said. I had asked him yesterday if he'd had a chance to take a look at the security cameras, because Gary showed him how to pull the chips and change them. And he hadn't yet had a chance to, he responded. But he also said that his work schedule and the fact that he has a 3-year-old just doesn't seem to be going to allow him the time needed for the board. Words to that effect. So I asked him to, told him I understood, but are you, clarify, are you resigning from the board? And I haven't had a response yet.
Yeah, the
So
truth
I don't
is,
know.
yeah, if he is resigning, we should try to get a 4th
Well,
candidate.
that's what the nominating committee will be doing, a little more than we may have expected
That's right.
them to be
We
doing.
actually have to find a candidate. Or at least one.
Okay.
Well, you'll have to find somebody that you'll appoint for the duration of his term. And then they will, like you did with Jenna
Oh,
and
that's right.
Asha. So then, at the end of,
But don't they have to be re-elected? They
Yes.
have to be elected anyway at the next
they'll have to
election, right?
be real, then they'll decide if they want to run in the next, for the next term, hopefully they will. But they also need to be willing to be appointed for this current term.
But it's, they only get appointed until the next election, and then they
Correct.
have-
Correct.
Well, so the next election would be,
In
Yeah.
But the
April,
board,
March,
but the
April.
board members are staggered.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when does his term run out?
It's
Is
only,
his?
it ain't 1 year, right?
Yeah, he's only been on 1 year.
Yeah, no, yes, I think he has another year.
Another year
So
or
you would
two.
appoint somebody for this next, for the year, and
And then they would have
then
to
they'll
run.
Yeah.
elect, somebody would be nominated.
But there's, is it?
You don't have to nominate
No, you
somebody.
don't.
You can have a vacancy, there's nothing.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
don't have to appoint
And
somebody,
we
that's
have
true.
been doing very well with getting quorums. I mean,
Mhm.
so, we can consider,
Mhm.
if he really is gonna resign,
Right.
we could consider not filling the vacancy
Sure.
because,
And if you don't hear from them,
yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sure it is.
there'll be three unexcused
Right.
show-ups. Well, we can discuss this again on Saturday and figure out what you wanna announce.
Well, all you have to announce is the nominating
The
committee.
nominating
Yeah,
committee.
but let's keep
And
it
ask if
simple.
anybody else wants to be on it.
Yeah, let's nominate, let's announce the nominating committee, see if anybody else that's there wants to run,
To be on the nominating committee.
or to put themselves forward as a, or is it too early for that, to put themselves
Well,
forward
we have
as a
three,
candidate?
no, not, once the nominating committee has been announced and formed, I guess you could say, maybe candidates wanna run, tell the nominating
Right.
committee,
Yeah,
Right,
because there is a nominating
that's right,
committee.
that's right.
right.
But you could also say that since we have three candidates, and we're not sure if we have any more vacancies, that's the status of affairs right now. So if anybody wants to run, they'll realize that they're running against three candidates already. I mean, I don't know if you, how far you want to get into that detail. I mean, otherwise, everybody's in the dark.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how
Well,
many.
we don't have to have, wait a minute, no, we wouldn't have election by acclamation,
No, not till March.
yeah, March.
That would happen at the March meeting
Yeah.
if there are 3 seats and 3 candidates.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, let's keep it simple, let's just
Yeah.
announce there's a nominating committee, we can tell them we have 3 candidates, who they are, we have 3 vacancies that we know of for sure, and let it go with that. And see what, if anybody, then in March, if anybody else wants to run, fine, otherwise we'll have acclamation, and soon we should know about John, and then we'll just figure out what we do.
and also Alyssa, I think I mentioned to you, maybe it was to Gary, right now she's having a hard time with Tuesday meetings because her husband teaches on Tuesday nights and her son is in Taekwondo. So either Gary or myself said something, because we talked on the phone today, maybe the meeting could be changed to a different night, and I mentioned that to Alyssa, and she said no, because this is a temporary situation for her.
Oh.
Her husband will not be teaching on Tuesday nights forever, and her son is going to be out of Taekwondo after February. So she did not want us to consider changing the night, and she will be at Saturday's meeting.
Okay.
So, just
All right.
Now,
Well, that's good.
now it's general meeting, aren't we going to ask the people that are there if anyone would be interested in being on the board?
Well, if they're interested in running, they should contact the nominating committee.
committee. Okay.
Yeah, that's the,
That occurs at the final meeting when the slate is presented,
yeah,
and then the president has to say, is anybody else want to nominate themselves from the floor? That's sort of required by Robert's rules.
Oh, okay.
That, I think you're thinking of that.
yeah, I was confusing that too, it's in
That's-
March. Right now, we just say, if you're interested, talk to the nominating committee.
Yeah. No, but people at the last minute can suddenly say, I don't want to run, which would, that might happen, but things change between now and then too, so we don't know.
All right. Next meeting, I am not gonna be here in January, so when do you wanna have a meeting? When's the, oh, I didn't bring my phone. When's the appropriate day?
I think New Year's Day would be Tuesday, isn't it?
The first
Am I off
Tuesday?
day?
You don't wanna have that.
No, of
Yeah,
course not.
so it'd be the 8th if you,
That would make
I won't
sense.
be here the 8th either.
No.
Well, I I won't be here the whole month of January, you guys can talk about another date.
You can
Fits
phone
you
in
better.
from San Salvador? Or El Salvador?
I don't think so, I don't think so.
So the 8th, tentatively, anyway?
People like the
Yep,
8th.
sounds
Gary
good
has
to me.
not mentioned to me that he would not be here, but that can change. They travel a lot. Asha hasn't said anything.
Well, I won't be here the 8th or 15th, so and that
Okay.
would push it too far,
Right, right.
too late, so you just have to.
So the 8th.
Where are you going?
Hmm?
Where are you going?
It's like warm.
Can I go? I'm cold, okay. Okay.
So the 8th is a good day? All right, so it's the next meeting will be January 8th. Does the public have any more comments?
On the safety thing, I mean, I just been looking over this, and aside from our insurance, there seems to be some ongoing concerns about drawstrings on kids so they don't strangulate themselves. And, whoa, you know, I don't know. I think not, well, I am concerned about the safety, but I'm also concerned about the administration of a tot lot. They seem to go on into, you know, back in the 50s, we didn't worry about this. But in today's litigated environment, it's kind of an interesting document that you passed out here, and I think we ought to take some time, I'd like to take some time to sort of look at this and see what the ongoing concerns
Well,
are.
I would ask, what is the source of the document?
Gosh, I got it the other day. CPSC.gov, Consumer
Product Safety
Product,
Commission.
thank you, Product Safety Commission.
So this is just, these are just statistics and
Right, it's the
Things
back page that I was
it's a
really,
parent thing.
Yeah.
It's not trying to enforce
no,
this on us, you know, to police these things.
no, I don't see how we could.
I mean, some of it, like the base and things like that are gonna play into, you know, are you doing the right thing as far as
Right.
insurance?
Right.
But you're not gonna be out there policing kids
No.
with lanyards.
The safety checklist is what I was looking for,
Yeah.
and that's what is
Right.
there.
Right.
Tom Shield, Tony, I didn't think he had any negative
No,
feeling toward the
no, he
idea of
didn't,
doing
yeah.
it. He didn't like, oh my goodness, you don't wanna do
Oh, no,
that.
no.
He had no negative
He said, you know,
comments.
just figure out the equipment you want and find out, you know,
Mhm.
what's it gonna cost you, and, you know, and then we'll just figure out the insurance, and it's not a problem, it's been done before.
Right,
Well, my experience with insurance agencies, they like to sell you insurance, but when it comes to
Oh, no,
the
this.
claims, that's a
Yeah,
whole
no,
nother.
this was our lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the attorney,
so,
yeah.
well, okay. Yeah, well, these are little safety guidelines that we can.
Oh, yeah, you know, we're definitely gonna have to have, you know, an inspection checklist and
Mhm.
have the equipment checked,
Right.
like, you know, once,
Yeah,
you know, either once every 2 weeks or once a month or whatever, you know, whatever the number. if
he
it-
emphasized too early spring
Yeah,
as the season is
Yeah.
approaching to really give it
and see if the manufacturers have a recommended
yeah, okay.
time and list.
Well, there might be something that, you know, like you see at pools where, you know, there's a no running, no glass, no alcohol, no this, no that. You know, just as a set of guidelines for people using the facility. There might be something like
You know,
that, that's a standard for
you know,
playgrounds.
And then the concern goes back to them for not following the rules
Right.
rather than to the
Is
association.
there a sign like that at the top lot at Cone Island?
to.
I'm just curious.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And then, you know, I mean, the thing too is that it's gonna be down at the beach, you know, I mean, it may not be a tot lot, as it could be teenagers.
Well,
Well,
the equipment is gonna
yes.
be such that, you know, we're not talking about anything that a big kid can get into, you know, like for example, the jungle gym will be something, I would imagine, the size that's at Cone Island. Now, no big kid's gonna be climbing all over that. And the swings, as we talked about them before, are gonna be the kind that are the slings that would have the leg holes that truly a tot goes into. Teenager, I mean, okay, fine, I can imagine some kid standing on it, you know, doing one of these,
Right.
but it's certainly not gonna entice him to use the swings.
Okay, so that's why we're using top.
Top lot, yes, top
Okay.
lot, top. Well, that's really what we were talking about
is.
all the
I mean,
time too, is
Mhm.
something for small kids, not teenagers,
Right.
you know. We expect teenagers to fend for themselves.
We
After
don't
all,
want to talk about that.
they're living by the water and, you know, come on, they can figure out.
They can figure out all kinds.
Yeah, well, they can buy a fishing rod and, you know, just go for it. Anything else?
Yeah, are we gonna move that outhouse structure there, or that trash thing,
You
to
know,
make it more picturesque down there?
we talked about painting it, I don't know about moving it, where would we move it to? I don't think it'll move, I think it'll fall apart, because it's just cinder block,
Yeah,
and,
It's kind of deteriorating it.
Yeah.
How is
And-
it?
I looked at the paint and you'd have to repair a bit of it before you even painted it, so.
well, we'll look at it, if it's worth moving, we can move it and paint it.
and we still use it,
Yeah, we still use
Well,
it every summer, don't we?
Yeah, but we have a porta potty brought in.
porta potty
every-
in there, and we
Yeah.
service the porta potty,
Yeah,
obviously.
Brothers Johnson.
Brothers Johnson does that, it's just an awkward location, I don't know.
It is.
Well, maybe we can
Anyway.
look at it for change of location, I mean, you know, it's just cinder blocks. I
That's
mean-
sort of where I would picture the playground being, that's
Oh.
what I'm
Well,
saying.
okay, well, we can look at it.
Because that's above water line and above,
Well, we can
Well, that might make sense.
we can look at it, you know, ask me if I'm concerned about where the porta potty goes. You
are you concerned?
know. Not
Just
truly,
can't wait.
Just for the record.
yeah, for the record, not truly.
Not so much.
We'll figure out where it goes and,
All right.
you know, we're not gonna plan around the porta potty. Anything else? Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, the meeting is adjourned.